My name is Bobby Levine. Alongside me is Mitchell Lyons this week. And if you're a fan of the Ohio men's and women's basketball team, it was a very depressing week. But if you like fights and pay-per-views, stay tuned with Alex Utano because we have a percentage game.
We've got that, plus hockey, swimming and diving, track and field, and a lot more on Ohio Sports Zone. Welcome back to Ohio Sports Zone, where we start in Byrd Arena, where the Ohio men's hockey team picked up two 4-1 wins against Pitt this weekend, Bobby.
Yeah, Ohio is now 25-7-1. They are ranked 7th in the nation in the ACHA for the 5th straight week. There's not much moving at the top there, but they did pick up 2 wins against Pittsburgh, 4-1 both nights after a terrible road trip in Arizona. What happened against Pittsburgh?
They really came out and dominated Pitt, beating them 4-1. They got off to a great start Friday night when Matt Rudin was set up nicely by Liam Geither when they scored 5 minutes into the first set. Under 8 minutes to go, Ohio picked up a second goal thanks to Matt Hartman, and that was it, the scoring for the first period. It was 2-0 Ohio. Then they went up 3-0 when Derek Ramey scored again for Ohio, and it stayed that way till the end of the period. Ohio had a lot of chances, though, and penalties. Pitt committed 5 penalties in the second period alone. They had an advantage, picked up another goal, and then it was all there. Pitt picked up 1 goal late in the game, but Ryan Helton picked up his win, got 11 saves out of 12 shots.
Yeah, this season's been capped off by Joey Breslin leading the team with 37 points, 23 assists. Michael Harris leads the team with 17 goals, and Aaron Alkema has been unbelievable in net. He's 16-4 overall and only giving up 2.03 goals per game.
The junior's just been spectacular, Bobby, and he has a save percentage of 90.7, wow. One of the best in the ACHA.
Now, coming up this weekend, Illinois comes to town ranked 15th in the nation in the CSCHL. And it's the rivalry week, senior night. So good luck to the Bobcats.
All right, senior night. Ohio needs to pick up 2 more wins as playoffs are coming. If the playoffs started right now, they play Iowa State, who they beat twice this year.
Now let's hop into track and field as they got run in this past week on Friday. They were leading the whole tournament at the Marshall Invite by Charlotte by 1 point. Friday, senior Danielle Brown finished 3rd in the women's weight throw, throwing a meter of 18.09. Unluckily for them on Saturday, they really faltered, finished 7 out of 15 teams, and they have the Akron Invitational this weekend, so hopefully they get back on the winning ways.
Absolutely, you hope for them. Speaking of the Marshall Invitational, Bobby, the swimming and diving team will head to Marshall this weekend for another one, and they come in with a lot of momentum. They've won 4 of their past 5 matches, defeating Denison, Xavier, Duquesne, and Ball State. Ball State came this past weekend on senior night, where Ohio was able to honor Haley Burlett, Haley Clark, Addison Ferguson, Stephanie Geiker, Bianca Hazer, Ariel Hodges, and Kelsey Johnson. All those seniors were honored.
Well, good luck to them. They head to Marshall, as you said, for the 2-day invitational. And then the diving team on Saturday has a JMU for the James Madison Diving Invitational. So good luck to both those teams. I want to switch gears here and head to wrestling. They are ranked 24th in the nation at 9-3. Last week they were not ranked. A couple wins here in a row now got them on a winning streak, and they seem to be back in the top 25. So good job for them. Their 4-game match win streak just came off beating Buffalo 31-7 and Northern Iowa 18-17. Unbelievable win there. A redshirt senior 174-pounder Cody Walters picked up a razor-thin win of 1-0 over Kyle Lux. Walters' lone point came in the second on the escape after starting on the bottom. So great job for finishing there. Also wins from Cameron Kelly, Noah Freuder, Colin Cummings, Cody Walters, Andrew Romanchik, Phil Wellington. Keys at getting the fourth win. They head and host Old Dominion this Sunday at noon at the Convocation Center. Hopefully some Sifters still in town for that, and expect them to try to win 5 in a row now. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we have Ohio women's basketball after a tough loss last night.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Ever wonder what really happens in the world? Ever wonder what the media is keeping from you? Well, look no further than AVW's News Time for all your answers. Ohio University's most reliable source of unreliable news. All news, all the time, none of the facts. All made possible by AVW Productions. You can trust us. We're professionals.
Welcome back to Ohio Sports Zone, where we go to the Convocation Center and Ohio women's basketball. They've suffered their first defeat of the season, but let's start Saturday, where they had a thriller against Ball State.
Yeah, absolutely. This past Saturday, Ohio traveled to Ball State as it was their 4th of 5 games on the road. They were down by 9 points with 3:09 left in the fourth quarter. Ended up coming all the way back, was tied up with about 20 seconds to go. Jill Morrison of Ball State shot up a 3, and Lexi Baldwin fouled her. Ended up going to the line, making 2 of the 3. Coming back down the court with 3 seconds to go, Lexi Baldwin had a layup and was fouled, made the foul shot, and that was it. Kiana Black led all scorers that game with 23 points. This was the second win in the last month where the Bobcats were down by 9 or more points with 4 minutes to go, came back and won in thrilling fashion.
Kiana's been terrific, leading Ohio in 18 points per game. But Bobby, Ohio suffered their first defeat last night at Buffalo. They snapped a 12-game winning streak. What happened?
I really think the Bobcats just got lackadaisical. Unfortunate for them to lose, but again, you won the games earlier in the year against Central Michigan, where you needed to win. And right now they hold the tie over them and Ball State if they do lose another one. Buffalo's very tough. They just were tired. They couldn't make shots. They shot 27.8% from the field and 17.2% from three-point line. Unfortunate for them, that is way below the season average as they shot 39.1 from the field and 30.9 from behind the three-point arc. When you don't make threes, this team will suffer, and it's shown this year. And obviously last night, it's a big loss for the Bobcats, but I still think they'll bounce back and be fine for the last 9 games of the season.
For sure. Ohio leads the conference in points per game and fewest points allowed this season. What makes them so great on offense and defense?
Well, as you saw last night, Jasmine Weatherspoon was out, and that hurt down low. She has been a rock-solid girl at the post and playing on defense, clogging up the middle. She leads the team in blocks, averaging about 7 per game. Without her, the Bobcats missed around 5 points per game, and that hurts big time. On offense, you obviously got to look at KB. She only scored 12 points last night. That is about 5 points below her average this season. And again, the Bobcats, it showed.
Yeah, Jasmine Weatherspoon was really missed. Ohio, coming into last night's game, is 11th out of 12 teams in the MAC in rebounding. She leads the team in rebounds at 7 a game, so she's really missed. But this Ohio defense is terrific, especially at defending the three-point arc. Opposing teams shoot just 27% from behind the arc. That's 23rd in the country, better than Gino Auriemma's UConn Huskies.
Yeah, right now that team is ranked number 1 in the nation at being perfect right now, 23-0. Also number 1 in the bracketology bracket on ESPN. The Bobcats received 1 vote this week in the coaches poll, and they climbed all the way to 23rd in the RPI. Now with the loss, they will drop a little bit, But with a couple wins here at the end of the year, you could see them bounce back up. I don't think they'll be ranked at the end of the year, but have them very close and have some votes going into the MAC tournament. And hopefully they win the MAC tournament, and you could see them maybe hovering around the 25 spot.
They're definitely the favorites in the MAC, but do you think they could get in that large bid if they don't?
With the loss last night, I do not think so. Luckily for the Bobcats, going to Cleveland, they should be a top 4 seed, which gives them a bye into the quarterfinals. And with that, that is a huge rest for these starters and these senior, pretty much heavy team right now with Kiana Black, Jasmine Weatherspoon, and Mariah Harris all playing excellent. As I said, you need Jasmine Weatherspoon to come back healthy as ever for them to make a huge run, because without them, you push it outside the three-point line. If you don't shoot well, 17.2 last game, it's going to show.
Yeah, that bye could be huge. You get healthy, get your stars back and ready to go. This weekend, they play Northern Illinois at the Convocation Center. Northern Illinois is really struggling, just 2-7 in MAC play.
Yeah, absolutely. Ohio has an easy schedule coming up, though, to finish off the season. The 8 games left, 3 of them are away. Now, that is a huge difference from the last 4, the last 5 they've been on the road, especially against Buffalo. They were on the road for 3 days. They left at 3 in the morning on Tuesday, and they got back just tonight. The game was yesterday. So luckily for them, they have a couple nights to sleep in their own beds, whether it's the dorms or their apartments, come back against Northern Illinois, and they hope to get a W. Now, looking ahead, the 3 away games coming up, the Bobcats' record against those teams are very, very good. And as a whole, they're hovering around 500 against Miami, Northern Illinois, as you said, and Toledo.
Yeah, they were on the road 3 days, a lot of lack of sleep. That might explain just the off night against Buffalo. Just the shots weren't falling, they were tired, a lot of days on the road. It'd be nice for them to get back home.
Absolutely. And this past weekend, Zach Farman and I had a podcast, and right here below is the link. You can go to our website or go to YouTube and check it out. It's about 11 minutes to 15. And this week, we expect Jake Hermata, the announcer for the Ohio women's basketball team, to come on, join us, and talk hopefully some positive notes if they get a W this Saturday, and hopefully they get on the right track.
You certainly hope so. Jake's terrific. You guys, it's a great podcast. Give it a listen.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Up next, we have John Kostis here with Ohio men's basketball. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after this.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. Could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Toucan Sam.
What's it take to get some hunky construction equipment up in here, huh?
I hope you're joking.
I think we need to follow the advice of Jesus and get down, girl. Go ahead, get down.
Please state your name and the role you're auditioning for.
Hi, my name is Christopher Walken.
What if it is Loch Ness Monster?
I mean, I got some shopping to do at Whole Foods, but I'll join in.
Welcome, my captain.
I'm right then. I knew I was right.
We're back here with John Kostis talking about men's basketball. The Ohio men's team is 13-8 currently, 4-5 in the MAC, and they're coming off an Akron loss, 80-68 this past Tuesday. John, what happened?
Well, let's just face it. This Akron team is the class of the MAC. They've been the class of the MAC for a long time now. It seems like about a decade since there was a team that you could say year in and year out was better than this Akron team. But here's what happened. Akron's bench beat Ohio. Akron's bench scored a total of 45 points. They had 15 rebounds and 6 of Akron's 11 assists. When you look at the production Ohio gets on a night-in, night-out basis, it's nowhere near what this Akron bench did, there were two guys you want to look at in particular. The first one is Isaiah Johnson. He had 18 points, again, off the bench. He was 8 for 13 from the field and had 9 total rebounds. The other guy, and this one was real special, he's Josh Williams, a guard who is a freshman. He had 20 points off of 7 of 8 shooting, and he had 3 steals to go along with that. You have two guys who are coming in, they're looking for minimal minutes, but they ended up dominating this Ohio team.
Keith Dambrot's known for having deep teams and have a lot of players that can play. You look at Kretzer and McAdams, they're the guys that star, but you just can't account for everyone every night.
No, you can't. And Ohio had a couple people who stepped up big too. Treg Setty's actually been big each of the last 3 games. We all know what he did last night. He had 17 points. He had a number of rebounds to go along with it. But if you look at his last 3 games in all, he has 13.7 points per game, 6 rebounds, and he's shooting 57% from the field. Compared to his season averages, which are just over 10 points per game with 4 rebounds and 48% shooting, it's quite a little bit of difference there. It's nice to see a senior progressing, and more importantly, a leader stepping up in MAC play, because there's only one senior on this team. It's Treg Setty. This team oftentimes will find itself without leadership.
You don't want to stay on the negative side, though. Before the loss, they had some key wins last week, and obviously the MAC's postseason schedule has changed a little. If you want to dive in and talk about that, but with a lighter schedule coming up now to finish off the season, do you see the Bobcats finishing in the top 4?
It's going to be rough to say whether or not they're going to be in the top 4, but these next 2 games are part of a critical 5-game stand. We've already talked a little bit about the last 3 games. It's against Akron, it's against Kent State, but we've got 2 games that are very important coming up. That's Northern Illinois and then Ball State. Ball State's a team Ohio beat at the Convocation Center. Now they're going to have to go on the road. They're going to be playing a Ball State team that really hasn't played well this year at home. If they can win both these next 2 games, they're right in the thick of it. They're within 1 game. I said that they had to win 4 of 5 games before this stretch came up if they want to be successful for the MAC tournament, but they're on pace for that. The Akron game was the game that I figured that they would lose. We'll see what they can do in these upcoming 2 days. The important thing to remember about the playoffs, you mentioned those changes, is that instead of having the top 2 seeds going all the way to the Final 4 in MAC play, now you're going to have the top 4 seeds making it into the quarterfinals. You basically make it to the Q in Cleveland. Well, that means that you're not going to have Akron and whatever other teams at number 2 going all the way to the semis and only having to play 2 games, while some teams have to play 5 or 6 games. Now you're going to have a little bit of give and take. It means less to be in the top 2 seeds this year than it does in any year previously.
That helps. There's a lot of parity in the MAC, so getting every team starting to play will help. John, there's a famous saying, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. Ohio has the offense. Is this defense good enough? Because they can shoot free throws.
What's funny is this Ohio team has great length, and they are extremely athletic. In fact, the guards on this team are physically more talented than any other pairing in the MAC that I have seen thus far. With that being said, they have not been able to be disciplined for an entire 40 minutes. You've seen Ohio blow out every team they've played in at least one half. They've either had a really good first half or a really good second half, but they haven't strung both together. Remember, Ohio almost came back and beat Akron despite being down by 7 at the half. Ohio was within 1 for 3 minutes in the second half. They could just never get over that mountain. Ohio, in their most famous loss this season, blew a 19-point lead to Tulsa, who, by the way, was ranked for a portion of this season. That's a very outstanding basketball team, but what happened? The mental maturity and the chemistry just wasn't there for Ohio yet, and that's what happens when you have a group of 3-star players in your starting lineup who were not with the team last year, regardless of if they're freshmen or if they're transfer students. You just got to hope that chemistry matches up by the time it's MAC play.
And you talk about team chemistry and discipline. You've had so many coaches in the past 3 years here at Ohio University. And last year, Saul Phillips only had a 2-game winning streak, which was his longest, and this year it's 6. Can you see the Bobcats coming together here in the last end of the year and come together and get a streak going here and push to the postseason?
The biggest thing about last year's team being unsuccessful to remember is those weren't Saul's players. Saul ball does not thrive off of isolation, which was what Endor and what Bean Willis really thrived off of. They were solid isolation, take shots under pressure players. Saul ball is all about passing it around. Jaron Simmons is the ideal Saul Phillips player. If you get more players like him in the system, the more successful you're going to be. And honestly, the more the guys on the team are going to buy into the system. I think they do buy into the system. I think they're going to make some noise due to their athleticism in the tournament. Do I think they're going to win? Not 100% sure if I've bought in yet.
Yeah, Jerron Simmons leads the MAC in assists per game. He's been terrific for Saul this year.
Yeah, the game this Saturday at 2 p.m. It's the Civs weekend, so bring your brothers and sisters out if they come to root on the Bobcats. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We come back, we have Alex Utano with some percentage games.
That's low.
Look, he's blushing.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Toucan Sam.
What's it take to get some hunky construction equipment up in here, huh? I hope you're joking.
I think we need to follow the advice of Jesus and get down, girl. Go ahead, get down.
Please state your name and the role you're auditioning for.
Hi, my name is Christopher Walken.
What if it is Loch Ness Monster?
I mean, I got some shopping to do at Whole Foods, but I'll join in.
But to my captain.
I'm right then. I knew I was right.
We're back here with the stats game, and Utano's going to explain what's going to happen here. Alex, take it away.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Welcome into the percentage picks. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to ask our lovely anchors a question regarding sports around Ohio University, and they're going to pick their percentage of the likelihood of that to happen. Now, to start off the bat, we're going to focus on one of the more successful teams here in campus, the women's basketball team. What's the percentage the women's basketball team runs the table from the rest of the season?
I've got 70%. That's pretty high, but this team's really good. And you never want to say that a loss is a good thing, but I think that this loss is actually a good thing for the Ohio women's basketball team. Going undefeated is extremely hard. You saw Kentucky last year struggle. You've seen the Ohio women's volleyball team a few years ago losing the tournament. It's just really hard. That brings a lot of pressure. Everyone's gunning for you, and you have to be great night in and night out. Now they can play a lot more free. This loss will have them regroup, focus, and they'll get back on track. I think they'll play a lot more free, less pressure, and I think it's 70%.
Now, I'm going to counter your argument there and say as long as the loss comes in regular season where it doesn't hurt you, as the Bobcats have been on a high for the whole season, I say it's a good thing. It's going to put them in a reality check here. Now, this weekend is a huge game. If they can come out, show the home crowd and Coach Bob Bolden a huge win here, I think they're going to be right back on track. I was going to say 110% coming into today. My producer got a little angry with that, so I have to put it down to 99. So I'm going to go with 99% chance they run the table here on out.
Well, Bobby with the confidence in women's basketball as usual. But now we're going to go to the men's basketball team now. They've had their ups and downs this season. They had 13-8. But what is the percentage that the men's basketball team gets within the top 4 of the MAC East?
Well, I'm going to have to be a little downer on this one. I was going to say 0% chance, but there's always a chance here. I'm going to go with 1% chance that the men's team makes a top 4. Now, I'm going to root for them, but I don't think the team can gel together as they did this past Tuesday when they had a chance to win a huge game, end up giving up 80 points. Now, I realize they put up 68 themselves, but you cannot give up close to 80 points at all and expect to win games. You are going to tire your guys out, and I just don't think the Ohio team has maturity yet. Maybe next year, but right now, with Treg setting on the team, I do not think they have a chance.
We've got the mayor of Negative Town over here. Bobby, you're insane. It's 50% coming up. Ohio currently 7th in the MAC. We said top 4, that's only up 3 spots. They're only 2 games out of Kent State, and they just beat them. This year in the MAC, there's a lot of parity. Anybody can beat anybody on any night. So Ohio has the offense to do it. They're sitting third in the MAC in points per game. They're number one by far in free throws in the MAC at 75.5%. Free throws win games, especially close, and in the MAC, a lot of games are close. They have to clean up their turnovers and their defense, but it's starting to get better. Their defense is better. They're starting to gel. I think that they can get it. I say 50%.
Well, good answers from both of you, but I wouldn't say Bobby's the mayor of Negative Town, considering he picked 99.999% chance that the women's basketball team would run the table. But we're now going to look at a different sport. We're going to look at baseball. Baseball season's just around the corner, and now the question is, what's the percentage that the men's baseball team can repeat with the MAC championship?
I've got 40% on the men's baseball team, and they return one of the best players in the MAC in Mitch, great name, Longo, who hit almost 350 last year. He returns, and they have 22 players that are true juniors or above this season. Very experienced team, and they have one less team to compete against this year. Akron dropped their baseball team, so it's one less team they have to fight against. But Kent State is still in the MAC. Akron's rival is still here, and they still have to compete with them. And baseball is all about pitching. If you get great pitching, you can beat anybody. BaseballAmerica.com says Kent State has 2 of the top 4 pitching prospects in all of the MAC. Kent State is still really good, and they're the team to beat. But Ohio has a chance with that experience. I'm going 40%.
I'm going to stay with you there. I'm going to go 50%. Why? Baseball is usually a toss-up sport, and right now you lost Mr. Cozart, Logan Cozart, in the back of the bullpen, but you have Copperhead's closer, Eddie Fitzpatrick, taking his spot, and I think he will be a lockdown force in the bullpen. I think 50% the Bobcats have a chance to repeat in the MAC.
Well, it will be a best 2 out of 3. Who will win? Now for the first question, what's the percentage women's basketball runs the table? Have to go with Mitchell Lions. So Mitchell up 1-0, and the reason is, Bobby, I like your confidence, and it's no doubt that this team is great, but right now they have a bit of road struggles. They are 6-4 on the road. They're perfect all across the board. So those road woes do sort of worry me for women's basketball. So I'm going to go with Mitchell 70%. Now we're going to look at men's basketball. Will they finish the top 4? That's a great question, but I'm going to go with Mitchell and his 50%. Bobby, sorry, 1%'s a little bit too low for my likings. And you got to remember, Bowling Green, while they might be on Ohio's tail, right now Ohio has a lead. It is anybody's game to get into the top 4. For men's basketball, that is not an impossible task, especially when you have Antonio Campbell averaging 16.3 points a game, Jerron Simmons with 14 points a game, Kenny Kaminsky holding his own as well. So there's a lot to like for this basketball team in the future. Now for the final one, Bobby, don't worry, you got on the board. I'm going to go with you because I do like this team. There are a lot of returning players such as Connor Sitz and Mitch Longo. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do this season. That is all the time we have here for Ohio Sports Zone. For Mitchell Lyon and Bobby Levine, I'm Alex Utano. Have a great night, Athens.